I just destroyed my corkscrew road record by minutes. I've been using Join Cycling's training platform for a year to date. Download the app, get your 30-day free trial to check it out for yourself. AlUla Tour Stage 2, we had a sprint yesterday. Today was a new stage, finishing on the Jada Mountain Wirka, apparently a very, very steep climb. We haven't seen these roads before. They do 3 reps of it, including a fast ascent into it. Big day for GC Pidcock. Let's see, can he win? He was a big favourite, but also for Jaco AlUla. They've got Eddie Dunbar here. No Simon Yates, so a lot of the pressure falls to Dunbar to win in front of the home sponsors, and they left AlUla Old Town. 67 k's to go, coverage started. We saw they were on this really fast descent before the first rep of this 2k climb, which had a k at 17%, but the road surface at 90 kilometers an hour goes from good to bad, and we saw how bad it was at the end of that descent with gravel on the side, well, kind of gravel everywhere. And so that was on top, and then the peloton reached it. They all warned each other. You see actually the Bingo rider on the front give the flared elbows to say there's an obstruction coming up, and they go to that different road surface, and immediately Rafael Micah's bad luck would actually continue, and other riders too, because they're hitting an irregular road surface with issues with some different patches on it at 90 kilometers an hour. So there's punctures galore, and yeah, poor old Micah. I mean, would he go for Pidcock today because he's out of GC himself? First rep of the climb, we got to see how hard it was, although looks can be deceiving because they build the roads so straight and it's a wide road. It doesn't look as steep as it actually is, but when you see Decline pedaling, doing a torque effort, Groenewegen a little bit ahead of him, you realize how steep it is. Whereas when roads are that steep in, say, the Basque Country, they're really, really narrow. We get to this plateau, the road surface is changing again, and suddenly we see the commissaires starting to talk to the breakaway, who had a gap of about 2:21 on the peloton. The peloton, though, Total were pacing, but then Q365 and Jaco are controlling the break, and suddenly the time to go is 20 k's. We've lost 25 k's somewhere. We're trying to figure out what's going on. And then, I don't know if Q365 were trying to put it in the gutter, if there was crosswinds. It looked a little bit windy on this plateau, and they were catching up the breakaway quickly, but suddenly the peloton, which was in full force with loads of riders dropped, gets told to stop, and so they were neutralized on this false flat uphill climb before they were going to do the descent into the second rep of the really steep finish climb, but they took out a lap. So a lap gets taken out, the descent's neutralized that you just saw, and then they're going to reopen the race with about 6 k's to go and then do the finish climb. So still, even with the neutralized descent, I think Christoph punctures. We see loads of riders shooting back on that descent. Reinders, who was in the breakaways, asking, what gap am I going to be given? How's this going to work when we open the race back up? Because he had like a minute 20, so he's not going to get a minute 20, even though that probably wouldn't have been enough either to stay in front of the peloton. He gets given 20 seconds. Don't know how they figured that out. And the race is open back up. 5 k's to go. Everyone's just had a recovery period, and we see the full mountain trains open up. Jaco on the right, Q365 on the left, and then UAE with Ivo Oliveira, I think it is, former Portuguese national champion, pacing for Micah and Pidcock. Also the familiar face or features of Jonas Abrahamsen, who was in the breakaway in the Tour all of last year. But the riders like that go out the back door pretty quickly. It's Micah who starts to set the pace. He's got Bahrain victorious on his wheel. It's actually Keplinger they're going for. And then Pidcock, who's a highly touted rider actually on their Devo team. His first year U23. In Spain, they call that sort of rider un crack. He's on the wheel of Micah, so they're going for him today. Very small, pure climber, but the pace for Micah is actually too strong. They should have gone for Micah. Maybe he could have gone for the stage. Probably not. But anyway, they went for the young guy, probably because Micah lost all the time in GC yesterday. But Pidcock then told him, I don't have it. And so the attacks begin. A lack of control. Pidcock's isolated, but he closes it down easily with 1k to go. He's got Keplinger on his wheel, 2 Jaco AlUla riders lurking, Dunbar and Hatherley, but then it's Keplinger who throws in the next dig. They're going 17 kilometers an hour up a 15% ramp. 2 Jayco runners, as I said. Hathley's the new rider they signed, who's the mountain bike rider, but playing multiple numbers doesn't really, not that effective on 20%. When everyone's just hanging on side by side. Not the place where draft is the most effective. And Pidcock goes to the side of the road, 500 meters to go, bang, attacks, tries to lessen the gradient by going diagonally, gets a huge gap, maybe attacks too hard actually. He could have settled back into his rhythm a bit quicker and almost like completely stalls in the last 50 meters, but huge thermonuclear attack from Tom Pidcock. Second race day with Q36.5 Pro Cycling. Got the Red Bull helmet on and he's out of the saddle, dancing, creating gaps and putting himself in a very, very strong position to win this race overall, knowing what we know about the Skyview stage coming up. Creating a gap to Keplinger and winning the stage. He was the heavy favourite beforehand and he delivers. So the new team will be happy with that. He'll be happy with that. Good to always get some runs on the board. And he wins 5 seconds ahead of Keplinger. Then Hathley in third. Very impressive performance for his first road race. Then Dunbar, De Bod, Versnes, Voisard, Micah, Asnar and Fancello. Here's what Pidcock had to say after the stage.
Today was, super important for me. New team, all these great people, and I just wanted to do them proud today. The team rode brilliantly. They had full commitment for me, and I was highly motivated for today.
When you start a season, you really never know where you're at in terms of shape. Did you know that you were in a very, very, very good shape today?
Yeah, I knew I was in good shape, but like this year, now we're on SRAM, power meters are different. When you actually look objectively, I'm in a really, really good place. But of course, after a winter, you haven't competed against anyone. You've kind of been doing a lot of efforts on your own. You actually don't know. So it's nice to get a bit of reassurance.
Take us through those final 500 meters. You attacked once, you attacked twice, and made the difference.
Yeah, the first time I just thought I'd just test the waters a little bit. And of course, I didn't. Today we just said, okay, we're just going to try and win the stage. It's not about GC, not about just trying to win the stage. And I thought, if it was actually felt the wind a little bit, so I was like, I'm just going to wait a bit longer. And then we got to 500, and the road was going down to the left, and the right hand side of the road was a bit higher. So I thought I'll go to the right and then use kind of the flatter section to attack and go. It was a little bit far, to be honest, but the last 200 meters hurt. But just super happy.
Now with the flat finish of Skyviews and Pidcock showing he's the best climber, he can just defend on Skyviews and then just go for the sprint at the finish and not get dropped. So GC is looking very good for him.